Okay, so the question that I'm answering is, do I believe that we are using up our natural resources? And to that, I believe that we are, and there is a little bit of explanation behind this. So I read a few articles, and two of them I really liked, and that's the two I will be using in my project. One of them is from conserveenergyfuture.com, and it stated very well what the energy crisis was, and the energy crisis is really, are we using up our natural resources, and if we are, this is a bad thing for our future. Now, the article says that if the energy crisis is only real if you are worried about our future. If not, right now we have plenty of natural resources to get us through our lifetime. Now, the energy crisis is mainly saying that there's not going to be enough natural resources to fuel our society in the future. Now, I believe that this is true, that the energy crisis is really only real if you are worried about the future. If you are not, if you're only worried about you at this moment in time, it is all on you. This is really a whole matter of perspective. Now, it also goes on to say that there are multiple causes for this energy crisis, and most of them are human-made, and some of them are natural. Well, and some of the natural ones I'll get into later, but like a lot of man-made ones, like the burning fossil fuels from driving cars, running power plants. This is all being emitted into the atmosphere, and we are producing a lot of carbon, which is causing a lot of temperature differences. And I'll get into that later when I talk about the climate change. And the thing that it also says is some solutions. And a lot of these solutions, it says in the article, have already been put into place, but they have not been developed well enough. And I really like that statement because we do have a lot of restrictions and policies in effect to help control the carbon emissions and the amount of pollution we're putting in to the world that we live in. Now, this takes me into the second article, which is by NASA, and it is going over global warming and climate change. Now, personally, I do not believe that global warming is like the only thing that's happening. I believe it is just climate change. This has been happening for millions of years, but in the past 150 years, like the article states, it has become more rapid. The temperature increase has become much more rapid than it had been in the past thousands of years. And this is by a few natural factors, and that's what I really believe in, that the natural factors are helping out. It's not just humans. You don't want to just blame humans for this. But natural causes like volcanoes, there's been multiple volcanic eruptions in the past 150 years, two big ones, one in like 1980 and another one I think in the past 10 years, that has caused a lot of carbon emissions into the atmosphere. Now, there's also some other effects like the sun itself. The sun has it has different patterns of radiation that it emits. Like sometimes it will emit large bursts of radiation that will come down through our atmosphere, and it will cause a pretty much a brightening effect, so it will get warmer. But that's not enough, and it's so slight to affect our atmosphere like we are experiencing. And it also talks about the Earth itself, like every now and then the Earth will wobble off of axis, which will cause the sun to beam into the atmosphere just a slightly different angle, which will cause a warming effect in different parts of the world that usually don't have that effect. Now, of course, these only have a small impact on the Earth's temperature and the climate. And like I said earlier, the volcanic eruptions and such, and all these natural causes, they only release maybe up from 130 to 230 million tons of carbon a year. Now, that might seem huge, But put this into perspective. Humans are producing 26 billion tons of carbon each year. Now, originally, I was thinking, hey, this is probably all natural. The polar ice caps have been melting and receding and then building back up for millions upon millions of years. And now, from these articles, it has kind of changed my perspective. I still believe that it is a lot of climate change. It's global warming, yes. It is definitely getting warmer. The global warming words, I really believe, are just there to make it into the extreme. It is just climate change. It has been doing this for millions of years. It's been fluctuating. Just now, us humans are becoming more of an impact on it. And obviously, what goes up must come down. Eventually, there will be a huge and drastic climate drop. And it'll be probably the same kind of reaction that is with global warming. But with this, it has kind of changed my perspective on it. I now believe that humans are having much greater effect on it. I always thought that natural causes and humans had like an equal effect. But humans are the major cause of this climate change and energy crisis. We are running out of resources, yes, but in our explored territories. There are still many unexplored territories in the world, including the deep ocean, which might have more resources than we know. Or in space, the government has been talking about going and getting resources from space. But with what we have right now, it is depleting. We are still drilling oil and we are still getting resources, yes. But in the near future, in matter of time, and how old the Earth is, not in human years, but in a matter of time, it is a very small amount of time before we run out of our natural resources. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with this unit on chemical reactions and the law of conservation of mass, which is what this project is about? Well, with humans burning fossil fuels, we're emitting a lot of carbon dioxide. And now this carbon dioxide is just a product of many reactions that are going on, a lot of combustion reactions, and with heat. So what this all does with the conservation of mass is it doesn't break the laws of physics, or it doesn't break the laws of science that we know. It does not. What it does is it just makes us think, well, we are causing these reactions, to make us energy. Now, what are we going to do when all of that reaction, all the reactants have become products and we don't know exactly how to make it back into the product, or make the products, the reactants themselves, to create their own products that helps us get energy, that make our fossil fuels a renewable resource, but they aren't. So that's how what I've been saying with climate change and this whole energy crisis has an effect on the law of conservation of mass. Humans are realizing, hey, we are putting all of this into the atmosphere. If we want for our society to keep running off of this, we need to figure out a way how to make this CO2, this carbon dioxide, to come back around full circle and create energy with reactions using that. And until then, we are in this energy crisis, and that again is what I said earlier. It's really a matter of perspective. If you believe in that or not, that is all up to you. But yeah, that is how this works with the law of conservation of mass. But for right now, like I stated earlier, the energy crisis is not real unless you believe that we should be worrying about the future. Currently, I believe that we should, so to me the energy crisis is a real thing. But this is all a matter of perspective, so you make your choice.